So I had a few things I wanted to talk about in a video, and there was enough of them that I think it would be better to put them all in one video rather than parsing them out in three videos, especially since two of them are not as in-depth as the other. So we got three things. First, we've got Battlefield 1, then we've got this Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remaster, and then most importantly, the big thing is the Nvidia Reveal with these new graphics cards, the 1080 and the 1070 Pascal graphics cards. Let's start off first with Battlefield 1, which is possibly the most stupid fucking title. I mean, why? Why that? Why Battlefield 1? They could have just called it, just Battlefield. I don't know, fucking anything other than Battlefield 1. Just such an odd choice. I mean, that might actually fucking confuse people. I know the last time I did one of these like thoughts on videos, I said that the PS 4.5 wouldn't confuse anyone. No, this might confuse someone. It's kind of like, well, this might genuinely confuse someone, but even if it doesn't confuse anyone, it's still a stupid name, kind of like the Xbox One is just a stupid fucking name. But enough complaining about the name, let's talk about the game, which is actually something that I'm interested in. Of course, the Battlefield franchise has not been doing too great. You had Battlefield, what's the name of that Battlefield game that came out? Battlefield Hardline, which was like the cops and robbers game, was absolutely dreadful, terrible game. And then before that you had Battlefield 4, which is now a decent game. A lot of people still play that. More people play that than they play Hardline or even Battlefront. But Battlefield 4 had a lot of issues at launch, which made me never come back to it. Maybe I should come back to it, maybe not. But I haven't really been enthralled by a Battlefield game. I haven't liked a Battlefield game since the Bad Company games, which I found to be incredibly enjoyable. Some of the best like online first-person shooters of like the last gen. Those two games, Bad Company games, partially due in part to a lot of the destruction you could do in those games. I'm not so much sensing the destructible environments out of this Battlefield 1, but it's a very cinematic and CG looking trailer, so it's kind of hard to decipher things like that out of a trailer like this. But the big thing here is that this is not a modern military shooter. It's not even a World War II shooter. It's actually a World War I shooter, which is, it's funny to say that would be fresh, but it is fresh because that whole age of World War I and World War II shooters is, has become all but a niche, PC game thing. There hasn't been like a casual, for lack of a better term, casual, mainstream, AAA budget World War II game that I can think of since Call of Duty World at War, which I really liked that game. I don't care what anyone thinks. I fucking loved that game. So I'm glad to see this happen. I mean, you can go on PC, you can play Rising Storm or whatever. Rising Storm, there's another game, but you can play these PC games, but they're more like veering off into the simulator category, getting very complex, which is fun for some people. But when I want to play I just want to play a casual shooter, to be frank with you, and that's what this is. It's Battlefield. So Battlefield 1, I'm like thinking it might be decent. Now, of course, DICE did just make Star Wars Battlefront, which was absolutely dreadful and was like the catalyst for me making this channel because I was so dissatisfied with that game. But I'm holding out hope for Battlefield 1, not gonna lie. But on to the next thing, which is kind of very related to Battlefield because it's like the direct competitor, is Call of Duty. They've got their new game, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which I couldn't give less of a fuck about, except for the fact that you have to buy Call of Duty Infinite Warfare in order to get this Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remaster. What the fuck, man? It's not just buying the $60 game either. You have to buy this Legacy Edition that costs $79. Fuck, absolutely. What the fuck? Come on, man. That's just, it's kind of shameful, really. If they would have just taken Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remaster and sold it for like $40 separately, they probably would have made the same amount of money, if not more. I know what their logic here is to bundle with this is to make more money, but didn't it cross their minds to just sell it separately for $40? I don't understand that. But God, this is just so fucking frustrating because this is actually something that I would be like really happy about and really excited for because I absolutely loved Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. When that game came out, that game was like so fucking good at the time, man, and I would love to play it again because now you go on there, I mean, like, fuck turning on your Xbox 360 and playing that game, am I right? But, so you go on PC, and on PC, yeah, you can find servers, but a lot of it's, you know, people doing mods, people cheating, and you can't find any vanilla, you know, deathmatch. So you got servers that are like, enter the weird world of like old Call of Duty games on PC. You try to play World at War or Call of Duty Modern Warfare, either one of those on PC, and you'll find lobbies that are like crouch only hardcore. It's just so fucking weird. I just want to play the vanilla, you know, run around like a chicken with its head cut off team deathmatch. That's what I want to play. And I would be getting that with this Modern Warfare Remaster, but not getting it now because it costs $80 fucking. So this is a real bummer. There's no way I'm gonna get Infinite Warfare. I have absolutely no interest in that game, and a Modern Warfare Remaster is not worth $80 to me. Something tells me, just in my gut, that Activision will come to a decision before the game launches and say we're going to sell the game separately for $30 or $40. Something just tells me that that's going to happen because the whole mentality here was to make money and get people to buy Infinite Warfare just because they wanted Modern Warfare 4, but what they're going to see, or Modern Warfare Remaster rather, and what they're going to see is no one's going to buy anything now. And you can see the people online have been very vocal about their discontent with this because there's a lot of people like me that don't like the newer Call of Duty games. They've grown tired of it. It's become repetitious. It's become boring and stale, but they kind of have a little bit of love in their hearts still for the original Modern Warfare and the older Call of Duty games. So you're not happy about this one, but I think they'll probably change their mind on it before September, October, whenever this game is coming out, whenever Infinite Warfare is coming out. Lastly, but certainly not least, in fact, probably most importantly, we have this Nvidia Reveal. Now, I actually watched this thing live, depending on when this video uploads. That would have been like 2 days ago or a day ago at the time of recording this. I watched this event live on Twitch, which you know that I don't like going on Twitch, so it must have been something important if I went on Twitch, and it ended up being something important. But this press conference was absolutely terrible. One of the worst fucking press conferences I've ever watched in my life in terms of like technology and gaming. Maybe just press conference in general. It's probably the worst press conference I've ever seen. But this press conference, they had other things besides these graphics cards. They had two main technologies that they showed. The first one was this Nvidia Ansel, which is some sort of enhanced screenshot technology that seems, oh, it's so impressive, but like, who fucking cares? It's like, no, I'm not going to use this. Most normal people aren't going to use this. And the way that it seemed when they were presenting it is that this is something, I mean, there's no way that it'll just automatically work in any game. This will have to be implemented on a developer level. So like each game developer will have to implement this into their game, which means that it's not even a feature you can use on everything. So it even diminishes the factor of its usefulness even more. And then the next thing that they showed off was it was something iFinity, is that what that's called? I think Nvidia calls it iFinity. Basically, multiple monitors set up, like in 3 monitors, you know, 1 in the middle and 2 on the sides curved towards you. Just, by the way, just buy a 21:9 monitor. I got one a few days ago. It's fucking heaven, alright? Don't waste your time with the fucking multiple monitors and the bezels, alright? But for the people that do have that, you'll be happy about this technology, which fixes the whole warping issue. And I can only really see this being something that's useful for, like, people who have racing sims. And, you know, to their credit, that's a pretty big deal for them, but most of us aren't racing sim players. So again, just kind of an odd thing to think we're gonna ejaculate over your stupid fucking, you know, technology that 1% of us care about that are watching it. But finally, and redeemingly, they had the 2 cards, the 2 Pascal Consumer Edition cards. Of course, they did show that Server Edition card, but now these are the Consumer Gamer cards, whatever you want to call them. The Nvidia 1080 and the Nvidia 1070. I'm not sure about the naming scheme. I would have gone with a different naming scheme if I were them, but whatever. These 2 cards are profoundly impressive to me. especially at the price point. So we've got the 1070, which is still more powerful than a Titan. It's more powerful than a Titan X, probably only marginally, but more powerful than a Titan X, which is a $1,000 card, and you're paying $380 for the 1070, which comes out June 10th. I believe that was the date, June 10th. That's incredible. That's going to be a great upgrade for a lot of gamers out there that have, they might even have the 970 right now. That'll be a perfect upgrade to be better than a Titan X, like a year after the Titan X came out for like less than half the fucking price. That's mind-blowing. That's incredibly good. And then you have the 1080, which is like the flagship card as it stands now. Presumably, well, of course, they're going to announce 2 more cards down the line, I'm sure. Probably a 1080 Ti and then, you know, a Titan X successor that uses Pascal. Those 2 cards are to come, but right now their flagship is the 1080. And this card, they showed it being like twice as powerful as a Titan X. This card cost $600. Spec-wise, I think it was clocked at like 2 fucking gigahertz with air-cooled on a reference. And then it had an 8 gigabyte VRAM buffer. I hope I'm getting these specs right. I know I'm sure about the 8 gigs of VRAM buffer, but just an incredibly impressive card at a price point of $600, so a little more expensive than people probably hoped, but the performance is so fucking good that it's hard to complain. And even if that is too tough a pill for you to swallow, which I'm sure it will be for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people spend that much money on their entire PC build. Just go down to the 1070, it'll do you just fine. But the 1080 is very impressive. In addition to these 2 cards, Nvidia also showed off this they have a new reference cooler design. They've been using the reference cooler design that they have been using, that blower style silver design. They've been using that since like the 700 series. I think since the 780 is when they've been using that. So it's about time that they got a new reference cooler design. In terms of performance, I don't know how much better it is. It certainly looks a little bit nicer, and they were like touting some features that they added to their cooler. I'm sure that third-party manufacturers will still come up with far better coolers. It's not the be-all, end-all of cooling as their reference cooler. You'll want to get a third-party, you know, manufacturer like EVGA, MSI, or Asus, whoever will probably be better still. But at least they have updated their reference design. And interestingly, they had 2 versions of each card. So the 370 price tag and the 600 price tag, that was for like the base reference version. And then they have what was called a Founder Edition for each. I believe on the 1070 that jacked the price up to about $440, and on the 1080 that jacked the price up to $650. So I'm not sure what you're getting with that. They weren't very clear about this. But it was something like around the lines of there's like a material difference inside the PCB or something like that. Inside I don't know what the fuck it was. Some kind of material difference in the actual card. I don't think it was in the cooler. I think it was like on the board or something. But some kind of difference in material that allows the card to be overclocked even more. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. I don't know if that's worth the extra money. But let's just go with saying that the 1070 is $349 and the 1080 is $599. Both of these, I'm gonna go ahead right now, unless they're completely lying and these benchmarks are bullshit, which I highly doubt. These 2 cards are going to be excellent upgrades for anyone, even on the 900. Even if you're coming from 900 series but don't have a 980 Ti. I think if you have 980 Ti like I do, I don't know how compelling of an upgrade the 1080 is for you. You might want to wait. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until there's like a 1080 Ti. That's probably when I'll upgrade to that. But if you have a 980, a 970, then these are both very compelling upgrades. You're getting exponentially better performance. And if you have anything older than that, like a 780, you're still holding on to anything older, this is like the best time. This is a fantastic fucking time to upgrade. And I just realized I failed to mention the power efficiency of both of these cards, in particular the 1080. Much more power efficient than the 980 Ti and Titan X and even the 980. And to the point where I don't know if it's like this on the 980, but on my 980 Ti, it had, I believe when I plugged it in, it takes one 8-pin and one 6-pin. It takes like 2 of your 2 things from your power supply, and the 1080 only had one single 8-pin, I believe, which is very, very impressive and a testament to how much more power efficient it is to be like twice as powerful or much more powerful and need like that much less power. But anyways, let me know if you're gonna get any of these cards, if you're as impressed as I am. And really, the one thing that's sticking with me after this whole Nvidia 1080 thing is how crazy, because when the 970 came out, and it had the whole debacle with the VRAM and then other things causing the price of that card to go way down to like 300 or 320, around that range. It stabilized around there. I don't know what it is like today, but that's like one of the most popular cards out now because of how good a price it was for the performance. And let's say, for argument's sake, that the 1070 takes that mantle because it's basically the same price, and people go on to buy that card as much as they bought the 970. I mean, holy fuck. That's like, then you've got all these PCs out there that are basically as powerful as mine, if not a little bit more. That's just fucking mind-blowing. And then that means a lot too in terms of the performance delta between like PS4 and Xbox One and gaming PCs. That's just because the performance difference between the two is already like fucking crazy, and then you just add this wrench into it because people are going to buy the 1070, a lot of them, and it's just going to drive this wedge between it, make it even worse, man. So, but I guess the one nice thing is I've been noticing a lot of these games that are console ports lately, like The Division, and to an extent Dark Souls 3 is kind of like this too, but they're not the most well optimized for like cards. Like, not when I say well optimized, I don't mean like they don't perform well. That would be a performance issue. When I say well optimized, I mean utilizing the power of your card to its maximum extent, because they don't. Like, The Division was like, I was pushing it at 1080p, and that was like making my graphics card sweat a little bit, which was shocking. But once you get everyone out there and they have like 1070s and they have like Titan X or a little bit higher power, then it'll be like a joke to handle any of these games that are made for these consoles, regardless of how well optimized or not they are. But again, if you're interested in any of these cards, let me know down below what you have now, if you're going to upgrade. Like I said, for me, I think I'm going to have to hold out until there's a 1080 Ti. Unless this 1080 comes out and it's like even better than unless I like it comes out and I see benchmarks and I'm just even more impressed, then maybe I'll have to upgrade to it. But for now, I think I'm going to hold off and wait for that 1080 Ti. But thanks for watching my video. I have my Dark Souls 3 review, which should be uploaded by the time this video goes up. I have that scheduled to go up before this video. So if you want to check that review out, go onto the channel. Of course, if you subscribe, that's always appreciated if you enjoy the videos. And as always, thank you for watching.